It's all going down. Tyrone Bowman live. In a few moments, we'll get this program started on tonight. I'm going to be talking about the New Jersey gubernatorial election results. And I'm going to give you a county by county analysis showing why Sherrill won and Ciattarelli lost. And why is it important? Because there are a lot of things happening in America, and we have to talk about them. These are the tough conversations sometimes that we have to have. Because if you don't have the conversation and you don't have the analysis, then individuals don't understand what's at play and what's important. What's important to the Democrats is this: maintain your momentum, maintain your focus, prepare yourself for the midterm 2026 upcoming elections. And if you're going to win, win big. What's happening, bad dude? If you're going to win, win big. If you remember, when President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the election in 2020, all we heard for the last 4 years is that they were robbed, they won, the Bidens cheated, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, now it's time to talk about the Republicans. See, the Democrats won for one main reason: people are tired. People are fed up. People are angry. Inflation is high. Medicare, Medicaid is high. The insurance premiums for many Americans, it is off the roof. It's up. It's out of control. Why? Because there are no measures in place to stop the increments of increasement. Individuals are losing their jobs right and left. Families cannot take care of themselves. The senators, they just voted they have a measure in the bill. They voted themselves a nice, hefty $500,000 package for each of them for themselves. And they just got back to work. They haven't even done any work yet. Yet they were blaming the Democrats for the government being shut down. As I've consistently said, I'll say again tonight. How is it that you control the Senate, you control the Congress, and you control the executive branch, and you're lambasting and complaining that the Democrats are the ones that caused the shutdown because they wouldn't go along with you increasing the premiums for millions and millions and millions of Americans when it comes to health care? And in a few days, you're going to see these Republicans go right back to the same status quo garbage that they've always been doing. Nothing has changed. Their agenda is still the same. They're going to try to justify, they're going to shuck, and they're going to jive, they're going to placate, they're going to make sure that they continuously play political mind games and political chess and political football. Now, according to Fox News Philadelphia, this is where these results are coming from. So here's the brief analysis, and this was written by Joe Calabrese for Fox 29, published on yesterday. Mickey Sherrill has been elected the next mayor of New Jersey, beating out Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Ciattarelli narrowly lost in the 2021 election to Governor Phil Murphy. Ciattarelli and the Republican Party lost significant ground this time around in every county in the state. And they're going to continue to lose because they're going to continue to play the same game that they've been playing. And that game is this: taxation without representation. Do you remember what happened when Madison was president of the United States of America? Go back in history, look it up for yourself, but I'll give you a brief recap and analysis. The newly formed United States of America, they were tired of taxation. That's why they called it the Boston Tea Party. They were tired of it. They got tired of being taxed without representation. The White House that stands now is not the original White House because they burned the other one down to the ground. They burned it. They destroyed practically every aspect of it. And now here we are, and Republicans still don't get it. They don't get the fact that millions and millions and millions of people are out of work, and you can't spin this narrative into a positive. It's not going to work. They don't get it. that healthcare is out of control, grocery prices are out of control, gas is out of control, inflation is out of control, the housing market is out of control, individuals are in food lines, hunger and homelessness is out of control in this nation, in the nations that's supposed to be the most powerful and the most prosperous nation on the face of the earth. And you mean to tell me we've got over almost 10 million people living out on the streets and nobody seemingly seems to care except of the few nonprofit organizations that are working overtime trying to make sure that hunger and homelessness are combated so that people will not die from starvation? Some people who were once respectable, people who have mental issues and mental problems have been turned loose into the streets because nobody wants to take the time to take care of them unless they have a lot of money to keep them locked up. So therefore, people are out there by unprecedented numbers and they're panhandling, and folk want to judge them and condemn them and rail against them. What are they supposed to do? The shelters let them out at 4 o'clock in the morning on the streets because they've got to clean the shelters to get ready for the lunch for the dinner. They give them, they give them the lunch and then they give them the dinner. They got to make sure these places are clean and sanitized around the clocks. So individuals are walking the streets. People are not really paying attention. And as a result, people are saying everything is fine in America. There are no problems. The agriculture industry is suffering greatly. Billionaires are getting richer and richer. So what do they want to do next? They want to attack Social Security. That's going to be on their agenda. They want to eliminate what they call Obamacare because it was introduced by a black president. And the Supreme Court will probably give them what they want. Oh, and this is going to be the big one. And if you think, oh, hell is not going to break loose because of this one, oh, it's going to. I agree. When the Supreme Court overturns same-sex marriage in America, and they're going to do it, it's going to be overturned. All hell is going to break loose because the LGBTQ plus community, they're going to feel as though they're being discriminated against, that they're being attacked. And one of the main things they're going to say is we contribute to the productivity of America like anybody else. They're going to say we pay taxes like anybody else. We work like anybody else. Many of them in the high places of power and even in the political realm on both sides, the Democrat and Republican Party. So don't give me that business about that there are the party of family values. No, they're not. It's going to happen. It's going to be overturned. Obamacare at some point in time is going to be overturned by this Supreme Court. Now, here's how they lost. In New Jersey, listen up, New Jersey, please pay attention because you are the ones who garnered this victory. The 2025 election results aren't official yet. Of course, that's what they said. But early county numbers, what did they do? They shed light on Mickey Sherrill's win and how much ground Republican Jack Ciattarelli lost between his election and his previous bid to be New Jersey's governor. I'll tell you why he lost, because they did not want the version of Trumpism in New Jersey. That's why he lost. He lost because they knew what was coming. He lost because individuals in New Jersey said, you're not going to turn this state upside down, destabilize it, tax us unnecessarily, and do all the things here in New Jersey that you're doing every place else. So, in 2025, listen, Ciattarelli narrowly lost out to current Governor Phil Murphy in 2021. I already said that. Perhaps based on those results, Ciattarelli decided to run for a third time this go around, but again, it did not work out as planned. In fact, this time, Ciattarelli lost by a significantly wider margin. Does it mean that he's not a decent man? That's not what that means at all. Oh, that means that his referendum, his brand of politics, his political ideology was unanimously rejected by New Jerseyans at the polls. They don't want it there. Voters spoke at the polls resoundingly in Sherrill's favor on November 4th, winning by nearly 14 points. Compare that to Murphy's 3-point win in 2021. Now, here's how the votes broke down by county. So it's county by county. 4 counties flipped from Ciattarelli in 2021 to Sherrill in 2025. Those counties are Atlantic, Cumberland, Gloucester, and Morris counties. Atlantic County, Cumberland County, I probably didn't pronounce it correctly, but I'm trying to. Gloucester County and Morris counties, they all flipped for the Democrat. Why? Why did they flip for the Republicans? Because guess what? Many of those Republicans in that county voted for the Democratic candidate. And they're going to do the same thing in the midterm elections in 2026. They're going to go in there making people believe they're going to vote for the Republicans, and they're not. Because people want a change in America. People want jobs. People want financial stability. They want a stable economy. They want gas and food prices to go down. They want the bickering and the arguing on both sides to stop. They want these politicians for once in their miserable lives to do their jobs. And if you're too old to do the job, then retire. Because many of them are old on both sides. And it's time for them to retire. They're 70 plus years of age and still want to crawl their way into the chambers of the Senate and of Congress, and they're not up to getting the job done. You need new faces, new people, new agendas, a new purpose, and a new goal to productively move forward as we go into the 21st century. And at some point in time, 2 things are going to happen in America. We're going to have a woman president eventually, whether folks like it or not. And the Republicans, they're going to learn from this and don't want to go through it again. And they're going to nominate a black man to run on their ticket. And they're going to make sure he wins the nomination because they're going to want to galvanize and get the black support. And they're going to choose one of their own, groom that person, make sure they're molded, make sure he's the right package and says all the right things for everybody. And they're going to nominate him. It's coming. The Democrats did it. The Republicans are going to be the next ones to put a black man in the White House. Some of y'all don't like hearing that, but I don't care because it's true anyway. It is going to happen at some point in time. And at some point in time, America is going to have a female president sitting in the White House. But Democrats gained points in every county in the state compared to Murphy's 2021 run, with the biggest swing left in rural Sussex County in northern New Jersey. Even if Republican strongholds like Monmouth and Ocean counties, which haven't voted majority Democrat since 2001, votes swung slightly toward Democrats, with Sherrill narrowing the gap by more than 10 points compared to 2021. As I said a few moments ago, Republicans voted for the Democratic candidate to become governor. And some of them were MAGA Republicans who voted. Don't think that all Republicans voted for the Republican gubernatorial candidate, because they did not. The same way that in this past election, all black people did not vote for Kamala Harris. 2 million plus black people voted for President Donald Trump to become president again of the United States of America. Statistics and numbers don't lie. Over 2+ million people cast their vote in the ballot box, and that's their prerogative. That is their right. And as I said before, I'll say again, one's political ideology, that does not mean that they're not civil, that you can't converse with them and talk to them. The climate in America has gotten to the point, either you're with them or you're not. Either you agree or you don't agree. That is the problem here in the United States of America. the vitriol that comes out of from one camp or another is you do what we say, no matter what you say, this is the way we want it to be, and this is how it's going to be, and you got to get along with the program. If you don't go along with what we say, then you become our enemy. That is sure nonsense. People have a right to vote their conscience. Many people were bribed and paid to vote in the past presidential election. Sherrill and Ciattarelli both campaigned hard on making the state more affordable. Well, let me go back before I read that. Don't fool yourself, newly elected governor of New Jersey. Without the black vote, you would not be sitting in the governor-elect's seat right now. Black people turned out in unprecedented numbers and voted for her. Oh, yes, they did. And I'll get the statistics at some point in time. I'll get the numbers. But tonight, I'm dealing with this right here. Black people came out, and like black people are going to do in the upcoming midterm elections. They're coming out by the millions because black people now are angry. Why? Because of discrimination and racism, because of this dismantling of so many things. And how they're going to take it out on the Republicans at the voting booth. They're not tearing up stuff. They're not coming out in the streets and do all this kind of nonsense that they want them to do so they can kill them and try to justify it. They can exercise their constitutional right to vote against a Democrat, a Republican candidate that they don't like. You saw what happened with Proposition 50 out in California with Governor Gavin Newsom, and Republicans, the MAGA Republicans now want to sue him. Are you serious? You all are the ones that started this with Greg Abbott down in Texas, remember? The redistricting, because you wanted the seats, and what did you do? You took the black community's right to have a congressional district, et cetera, away from them. And now that the Democrats are doing the same thing, now it becomes a problem. It's unconstitutional. It's not right. Why? Why is it right for y'all and it's not right for the Democrats? See this double-sided? See this two-edged sword? It cuts both ways. You can't redistrict and redraw the map to suit your preference and majority to favor you to win, and Democrats can't do the same thing out in California and in other places. It's not going to go down like that. Democrats, you better get your war clothes on, and you better be prepared for the battle of your life if you're going to win the upcoming midterm 2026 elections. Do not take Trump and the Republicans lightly. If you take them lightly, you're going to lose. If you take them lightly, you're going to find out exactly how the game is played. It's not played fairly. It's not played nicely. It's not played with good manners. It's a cutthroat, vicious, dog-eat-dog game. To the winner goes the spoils of war. So the black Democrats in New Jersey turned out the vote for Mickey Sherrill. That's one reason why she won. And no one can defy what I'm saying because it is true. When black people make up their minds to vote, and we're still a powerful voting bloc. You're not going to get rid of us. You're not going to eliminate us. You're not going to tell us that we don't matter. Because when we make up in our mind to support a candidate, they get total 100% support. So Sherrill and Ciattarelli both campaigned hard on making the state more affordable. I believe she meant it. Focusing on things like rising energy prices and taxes. Who is the causation of the rising energy prices and high taxes? It certainly wasn't Governor Phil Murphy. While Ciattarelli wanted to pull out of clean energy initiatives, Sherrill wanted to crack down on utility companies and rate hikes. Have you all looked at your electric and gas bills lately? Haven't you noticed that the bills keep getting higher and higher and higher? Check it out. When you pay one bill, 2 days later, the next bill is right at your doorstep or in the mailbox. This stuff is systematically planned to keep you off guard, to make sure you don't have any money in your pocket, because there are no regulatory measurements, guidelines within the Public Utility Commissions. Oh, they say there are, but they're not. They're taking advantage of people. They know that people are being overcharged by independent private energy companies under the guise of saving you money. In actuality, they're not saving you money. They're robbing you blind, and they know it. Who is profiting from it? The big-time investors, owners / CEOs of these energy corporations. They are the ones who are profiting every step of the way. Have you looked at your gas bill lately? Throughout the summertime, most people wasn't even using gas, but they still sent you high gas bills. And then when you say that you need help, oh, well, you're a freeloader. You're just lazy. You just want to be on welfare. Give out handouts. Well, then stop giving out bailouts, handouts, welfare to corporate CEOs, greedy corporate CEOs who destroyed the very economic infrastructure of America. And every time they do it, they get bailed out in the name of saving the economy. And people are pocketing millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars at the expense of everyday, hard-working, tax-paying people. That's why the Democratic candidate won. The two candidates differed drastically on issues like health care and abortion, affordable housing, and more. Let's talk about abortion for a minute. These same people who say they're against abortion, let one of their mistresses get pregnant or one of their girlfriends get pregnant. Yeah, what? They'll make her go someplace and have an abortion, even if it's out of state. The biggest proponents of morality are the biggest hypocrites, because behind closed doors, they're doing terrible things and pretending to be so morally upright. When Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president of the United States, though he ruled from a wheelchair, he still had a mistress. I said he still had a mistress. Look it up for yourself. So the New Jersey Board of State Canvassers is required by law to count the votes and announce the election results no more than 30 days after Election Day. That's December 4th, when they should be certified. Sherrill will be inaugurated on January 20th of 2026. I'm not going to make this video long and drawn out. This is no game, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. There's a lot at stake. And people better wake up and they better pay attention. Because during the midterm elections, you're going to hear a lot of crap being said. And they're going to try to spin it in ways to make people believe that they're for them. You had a vasectomy at age 40. Okay, brother, I hear you. They're going to try to spin it. And then you're going to see them coming to their constituents. You're going to act like they really care, rolling up their sleeves without their 10 bodyguards for each person. And then when somebody asks a decent question, they're going to have them thrown out because they're going to be evasive with their answers. They're not going to answer them forthright. The dirty game of politics. America is about big business. America is about keeping billionaires rich and keeping broke people broke. Even on jobs where people work. Doesn't matter how many degrees you have, they're only going to pay you a certain amount of money. And they're not going to even pay you what that degree is worth. Because nepotism is going to rule family-owned corporations. They're going to make sure that their unqualified family members are giving the best jobs, and they're going to make you teach them. And then you're going to teach them how to do your job in each department. And then they're going to become the new CEO and fire all of y'all and then bring in all their non-qualified friends. So don't give me that crap about DEI not existing. It exists in corporate America for white people. They use it against black people, and then they make sure they bring in all their cronies, all their friends, and etc., and give them the best jobs. Now the question is, as I close, what are you going to do in the upcoming midterm elections? Do your own research. Do your own thinking. Become consciously aware of everything that's happening in the country. Make your own decisions, vote your own political conscience. As for me, I'm not voting based upon party allegiance because I have none. I'm voting my conscience. As an independent registered voter, I'm voting my conscience. That's how it's going to go down for me. Because I'm an independent, conscious, awakened, thinking individual. And Democrats, I'm going to tell you this tonight. You all didn't listen to me during the presidential during the presidential campaign. You didn't listen to me. I sat in front of this camera day after day, and I told you how to win the election, but you didn't listen. Take the Republicans for granted, and you're going to lose the election. Sit back and party and rest on your laurels and try to be make conciliatory concessions with them. You just keep going along with them to get along. Keep being nice while they hate you. Keep trying to be civil while they're uncivil. You all keep trying to play nice with people who don't care anything about you. And you're going to continue to lose. Go there with your war paint on. Go there with your game face on. Go to your constituents. Constantly be in touch with them. From now until after election day. You better roll your sleeves up. Loosen your tie. Get on your bus tours. Start going around from county to county, from city to city, from town to town. Sacrifice the time now. Don't wait until 2 or 3 months leading up to the midterm elections. You better start pounding the pavement right now. Start hitting the campaign trail right now. Start your counter-attack ads right now. Get your game face on. Let people know that you feel their pain, that you have empathy with their suffrage and the things that they're dealing with and going through. And why don't you take some of your own money and start feeding the homeless? Start looking out for people who can't look for themselves. Take a portion of, if I were a politician, which I'm not, I would take a substantial amount of my salary and make sure that people in my community and those who are my constituents, I do what I can to help them. I wouldn't care what color they are. I wouldn't care what party they are. If I'm elected to serve a particular county, they're part of the constituency. You can hate me all you want. I don't care. Because I'm not thin-skinned. Now you can sit back and you can take the Republicans lightly if you want to, and you're going to lose. But if you come out, it don't matter who has the bully pulpit. Joe Biden had a bully pulpit and it didn't help Kamala Harris. I said Joe Biden had a bully pulpit and it didn't help Kamala Harris. So it doesn't matter who has a bully pulpit. What matters is who can convince people to vote for them. Now, follow that logic and watch what happens. And go get the book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and study it. Yeah, you heard what I said, Democrats. Listen up. Go get The Art of War. Go get the book. Read it. Study it. And make sure, yes. Oh, yeah, I agree. Neither will I. I won't help anybody who squanders their resources. Widow and orphans and children, most definitely. They're at the top of the list. And don't forget about the widowers, you know. This is why I'm sitting here under these two lamps, under this hot light tonight. Because the alarm has to be sound. Victories have to be won. People's lives have to be changed. America has to become, thank you, a better place for all of us. West Ham are massive everywhere. It's time, y'all. Seriously, it's time. It's time to take a stand. And in future elections moving forward, I'm voting for people that care about people. I don't care what color you are, Jack. Just because you black don't mean you're going to get my vote. If you don't care about people for real, and you are not advocating for people, you're not fighting for people, you're not down in the trenches helping everyday people, can't vote for you. And people who are lawless and constantly breaking the laws, law and order must be maintained. I'm a law and order proponent, and I agree with it. Law, not abuse. I didn't say abuse. I said law and order must be maintained in its proper place. That goes for those who work in the system, and that goes for those who break the law. You have to have the judiciary consist of men and women who adjudicate fairly with cases. This thing about the rich being favored above the poor, it's got to stop. Your rich client is just as guilty as they can be, but your poor client is innocent, but the district attorney is going to make sure they get framed. Did you see the movie Law Abiding Citizen? You remember that movie? How a good, decent man turned out to become one of the most criminals of all time. Because the criminal justice system failed him in the death of his wife. Fictitious story. Did you ever see the movie Witness for the Prosecution? Check it out for yourself. These are real things, ladies and gentlemen. Did you ever see the movie Wag the Dog with Robert De Niro? And if you think that these movies are just movies, these writers, producers, and executive producers are telling you a story. Many times they tell you things are going to happen before they happen. All right, my time is up for tonight. Thank you all for watching. Never surrender. Never quit. What did he say, Brazilian fans army about Mother Russia? Good night.